Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about work from home performance. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, since we had to return to the office at my company, my software team's performance has declined. I've told management that we can't match our work from home performance, but they insist that we must. What should I do? Crash and burn. That's what you're going to have to do. So the office politics are not in your favor, and your company feels that it's more important for you to be in the office than to work at peak performance. And I say they are paying your salary, and you're not being asked to do something that they seem to not care about. So unless it's really important for you to work from home, and you're willing to quit over the thing, then just do it and take the hit that you have to work a little bit slower. Exactly the same thing as if, let's say that I came into, I was your manager and I came in and said, hey guys, you're going to train this junior software developer. And you would say, yeah, that's going to make us deliver slower. And I said, yeah, that's okay. Okay, then you do it. Because clearly it's more important to train this person than it is for you to work at peak performance. It's the same thing I say to my software developers when they say, when I tell them I'm expecting you to write tests, and they go, yeah, but that's going to make you take longer. And I go, yeah. So I hope that you can. And the thing I don't tell them, which they should be aware of, is that it's okay that things take longer. But if you're not good at your job and you can't do that part and still meet the expectations that I have, then I'm going to try to find somebody who can. That's the thing that is what I say. What I like to tell software developers about this, like the idea that just because I ask you to do something that you don't know how to do when you're supposed to do it, like if you don't know how to do your job well, I can still, as the employer, I can always go and say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to try to find someone who can, and I'm completely in the right to do so. And the examples that I usually take with this is, as I said, in this case it's testing. For you it might be working from the office and so forth. Like if I see that you have a poor performance, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's because you work from home or if you are in the office and so forth. Like I am paying you, or like even if you're in my team, so I am responsible for that a certain thing gets done. So let's say I'm not your manager, but I'm your tech lead, for example. Like my manager holds me as responsible for meeting certain criteria. And if I know for a fact that these things are within reason, and I see that you can't cut it, or that you, as I like to say, with a junior, like if I see that, yeah, we have a junior and all of a sudden you start slacking off, or like I see that actually we're dipping, yes, in productivity, but we're not dipping because the junior is in the way. We're dipping because you're not really good at your shit at your job. That's still not okay. As with my testing, I can tell you more than once, guys. I have been in a conversation with, say, front-end developers, which is very common, where I've said to them, I expect you to write tests, and they don't know how to do it. And I said, I can help you if you want to. They don't want my help. And then we fire them. Because even though they think it's bullshit and so forth, all I have to tell their manager is that they can't produce in accordance with what we are expecting. And then the manager asks, okay, like what's the problem? We want to write tests, or like we wanted to write unit tests, and they don't know how. Or like they can't do it, like they can't ship while writing tests, because as I've said before, guys, just because like you can write tests at a speed that makes you deliver at about the same rate. I know for a fact because I can, and I know of quite a lot of developers who can do that. Just add, like, if you start writing tests, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden a 2-day story takes five days or like 100 days. Like it doesn't just increase like by some drastic measure unless you really suck at that part. And as I've said before, guys, that is your own responsibility. That is your responsibility, because it's a critical. It is an expectation from quite a lot of managers and quite a lot of companies that you know this stuff. So it would be the exact same thing if, let's say that you didn't know how to use Git or version control or something like that. okay, who's responsible for making sure that that happens? That you can, because the company is paying you to get the code into production. That is what they're trying, like that's what you're getting paid to do basically, or like to deliver value, right? And if some part of that is well within what is expected of you, then most companies, as I said, they will have, because it's of course better if they can help you a little bit so you can learn these sort of things, but that doesn't absolve you from personal responsibility. Same thing with working home and working from this office. If the developers get into some type of frustrated frustration, where they're sort of classic one, disgruntled employee tries to hurt the company because, oh, they took away my coffee, or they did something that I didn't like, and now I'm going to shit on all the code and stuff like that. There is very little you can do in that situation. But if you are at least like I am, so I try to treat all of my software developers with the best intentions, and I always tell them the same thing. I will always be here for you. If you need any help, I will try to give you support and so forth, because my relationship with my software developers is always, I'm going to be here for you and do whatever I can. But I also have a job to do. And I will never accept that I see that you don't either, you're not able to do the job. And even with coaching, like if you can't cut it, then I'm going to have to report that. Just as if I see that your performance starts dipping, or you start being a problem within the team, again, I'm going to have to report you, because I have to ensure that the people that depend on us, or me, or us in the team, all the people that you are working with who are okay with the situation and still trying to do a really good job, they shouldn't suffer for what you feel is what's not working, for your situation, so to speak. They're innocent in that. And it's the same thing with your managers and so forth. They can't control, if the company goes and says this, what are they going to do? They can't just shuffle politics. And as I said before, guys, office politics, you can feel however you want. A company can make up any weird rule that is within the law, and they have a right to do so. And you always have the right. And that's why I always tell you, make sure you have a strong CV, make sure you have strong core skills, and do a little bit of networking, so that if someone does something that you're not really okay with in a company, you can always just go somewhere else. That's the beauty of it. You can always do that. As long as you have the option of walking away, just do it. Just do it. So what I want you to take away from this is that the best thing you can do for your team is, I would say, is that just communicate to them that, the management feels this way and that way, and so we need to step it up, or we need to do the thing we do. And then you crash and burn if you can't meet the deadlines. And if the company goes and says that, you're not performing at the level, and so forth and so forth, if you see the boat rocking and you see that this is an unsustainable situation, try to move somewhere else. Because I can't imagine that this thing here is the sort of issue that I think that you might think that it is. Because usually when they say, well, you have to come back to the office, it has to do with how the company wants their company to work, the higher management usually have. And that has nothing to do with logic. It has nothing to do with, as you were saying, you are more performing for working from home. That doesn't matter. It's politics. And politics are not necessarily always rational or results oriented. It has to do with the values of the people who sit at the top. Works the same way in countries, in governments. Doesn't necessarily mean that not every single law or every regulation or so forth makes sense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to, because it was put there by someone who just felt that, this is how we're doing things. Why? Because it's the way we work as a company, or as a country, or whatever. It's our values. It's our core values. They make up stuff, guys, and this is just one of those things. They are making it up, because some people, they will work better from home, and some people work better from the office, and they don't care, clearly. So they have an opinion on this, and they are clearly okay with that your performance is going to drop, and there's there's not much more to say about it, because even if you, in your specific team, if you were to say to all your developers that, well, guys, we're going to write more tests or stuff like that, you would also take a delivery speed, performance hit, and so forth. There are things that are more important than just how fast you can ship. And you might feel that this is completely nonsense, and I tend to agree, but sadly, I'm not the guy who is holding your paycheck. And that is fundamentally the person who gets to decide how things are supposed to work in their company. Have a great day.